Hi, I'm Andrew Cardno. I'm here on QCI Pod with Tamara Rodriguez, the CEO of Indigo Collective. And we're going to talk about AI and the business of fun and learn about how she's doing that, what it means, right? So, Tamara, firstly, who is the Indigo Collective? I know it's an incredible group, but tell me a little bit about them.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for having me too in your space. Well, the Indigo Collective is an eclectic group of individuals that come together to create magical moments, immersive magical moments.
Wow. Okay. And
Yes.
and and this is a business of entertainment, right? It's a business of moments, and we're going to get to AI as well. So there's a lot to cover here today. But tell me about what kind of relationships you get into with businesses. Tell me about the kinds of things that you do.
All right. Well, when Indigo Collective, we move in corporate spaces in a way that corporate events have never seen before. We use talent in ways that talent has never been used before. We're
Wow.
incorporating the human side of experiences. We are allowing artists to feel free and roam in spaces that they can raise up the vibrations so that they can in turn make the space a whole new frequency for the attendees.
So it's kind of like unconstrained performance, right?
Yeah, it's basically running with the idea that creators and storytellers do best when they do what they are meant to be doing, and they do best when they have free reign to create powerful art.
So, and how does the Indigo Collective allow people to do that? Like, how would you compare it to a traditional agency? What is it that's different?
Well, you have to see the people who are directing and involved. And so I have this very strong capacity to see the potential of artists. I have recognized that in myself and throughout the years that I have
And
a
that's what
really
brought you to
great.
do the Indigo Collective, right? To bringing that
Yes.
together, right?
I've been working with insanely talented human beings from all walks of life, from all different talents, and I piece them together, and I see their unique individual traits, and I see how I can create spaces where they can unleash their highest potential. And I think it's giving them permission of seeing them for who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
giving them
giving them
permission to
permission.
be the talent that they really are. Maybe
Hmm.
removing some of the barriers, right? I
Yeah.
and I think in this world of AI, which I'm deeply into, right? I
Hmm.
think this is like the counter. This is saying, hey, we need humans. So,
Yeah.
do you use AI in your productions?
Um, we work with AI as a tool to help us, but it's led by human interaction and led by human
So,
hearts
in
and
the end, it's
minds.
about a human enjoying something that I think humans really enjoy, which is other humans. Is that what do you?
Yes. At the end of the day, it's absolutely 100% about human connection and human communication and in-person moving of energy. There's something to be said about the opportunity to engage and connect with other human beings, even though you've never met them.
Well,
The
yeah,
part
that's
of,
right.
of, of the events is that you meet these people not as performers and as
But you're actually
separate.
engaged with them. So
Yes,
the
you are
like the
engaging
audience
with
isn't
a
an audience
person.
anymore. It's actually a part of the performance.
Exactly. And we highlight them as humans and we give them permission to be them instead of putting them in a box and saying, you have to pretend to be this. You have to be this because this is what the party is needing or the corporate event is needing. This is permission to be yourself because at the end of the day, we want your energy and your
So you can
excitement
feel
to
more
be in the room.
relatable, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all these humans and all these people have incredible backgrounds and incredible outreach in the community. They have powerful social media connections. And so, by not being utilized for that potential, we take away 80% of the opportunity. So I am really inviting the people in rather than just the talent.
The
Hmm.
clients of Indigo Collective, the businesses you're
Hmm.
working with, what
Yes,
happens is they benefit from the engagement the other way, right? From the artists
yes,
engaging with them, then social media comes with that. So it's a
absolutely.
really important point. So a lot of these artists have huge social media followings, right? But they want to engage with it in a relatable way.
I call it organic engagement. An organic engagement is when you bring people in that they have a social media following, and because they loved to work with you or they are so excited about the project they're creating, they will naturally, without being told, post. And that organic engagement is worth so much more than a marketing budget because it allows for actual free flow of energy that commits people that see that into buying into the Indigo Collective because it is not pushed, because it's not fake, it's organic.
So you yourself have a pretty large, over
Mhm.
100,000 people on Instagram and a big following. And I know you like to share very relatable experiences. And I think that feedback loop is something a lot of people, if you're thinking about your business and thinking, how can I get my business to have more engagement with the world? Well, through this incredible talent, when the talent wants to do that, you get the engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that artists want to be in their light, and there's a light for every artist. I think there's space for all artists in this world, and that's one of very important parts of the collective. It's we're a collective. We all raise each other up.
Including healers, right? Including, like, how
So
does that
yeah,
work?
that's the cool part of the collective. It's not that it's just for quote unquote artists. I see artists as all human beings, but we have healers who dedicate their lives to the emphasis of the healing arts, the esoteric arts, being physical healing, spiritual healing, mental healing. I think that's a concept that is very, very important and very much part of the psyche of the new generations. Millennials
Millennials
are,
love this, right? They relate to it.
millennials are in a yoga class, eating their green juice. They're not going to clubs, they're not drinking. They want an experience that will give them a benefit of health benefit because that's where our priorities lie. So
Wow.
again, this is searching into what the younger generations are
So this
wanting
is
and
this is
needing
like a
and experience.
doorway to a whole new kind of audience through the things
Yes.
that they care about, right?
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. It's an experience driven immersive event that is not catered to one specific group of people, is catered to all people, and using these things such as health, wellness, esoteric, arts, the highest level of talent in all these denominations, musicians from all genres, being very open minded with the allowing of moving talent that not necessarily would hang out together because of how different they are in their genres, but
Right.
pulling them in because when you pull things in that are different, you create something very special. It's something that Salvador Dali taught me, that if you use this
Salvador
technique,
Dali.
yeah, Salvador Dali uses that technique of allowing things that are opposing, things that don't go well together in the real world. You put them together in this neutral space, and all of a sudden you have something new. And so I truly believe in the power of creating things that are new by in this experimental
And
space
it's
of
these are all
freedom.
going to create more engagement, more relatable things. So whether you want to watch some harps or there's a rock band, this
Yeah.
diversity of engagement is encouraging people to be a part of what the Indigo Collective people are doing. I think is that it?
I mean, we are performers from the highest calibers. So you have Grammy Award winners, you have people that are Broadway musicians and dancers and actors, triple threats. You have people who have gone through their whole Ayurvedic journey and masters at meditation or sound healing, sound therapy. You have now, we're adding this whole facet, which I'm very excited for the G2E party, because we're adding a new component to Indigo Collective, which is bringing in athletes, high elite
Athletes.
athletes. We're bringing in sports.
So you're mixing together music, healing, sports into an engagement experience.
Absolutely. I think entertainment is about bringing all these different visions together that create a very once in a lifetime moment that pulls all eyes into this space, even though they haven't attended this event. The aftermath of the pictures of the engagement that will follow through is what sparks even more opportunity for business and connections and engagement of these casinos that will partner up with us, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're really stepping into the business world now, right? My observation is that artists are all business people, but
Yes.
but they like one step removed. There's a whole new set of tools that I'm seeing you use, right? Because I've known Tamara for some time, so
Yes.
I'm seeing you use these tools. As you start to learn and use these new business tools, what are some of the key things you've learned in the building the Indigo Collective business, which is the business of fun, right, that you're
Yes.
building? Tell me about some of the tools you're learning about, the advice you would give to other artists, like, hey, you really need to do this.
Yeah. I think we're all, at the end of the day, sales people. We're here for sales because you're selling yourself. Nowadays, you have to commit to the work, and it's less about talent and more about commitment to showing the world what you can do and showing the world in a very professional manner what your value is and what you can create. And so it is tough and tricky for artists out there that are going from the end of an era of how artists were able to go through life before, and now the opportunity that we all have with social media, with these new generations of people that are not wanting these created artists. They want organic, young, old artists that are that are true to themselves. They want artists that are real, artists that have a story to tell. So what I've learned about business is that you have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to create this professional space of marketing yourself and the people that are working with you, the websites,
You have to have a
building
website?
I do have an incredible website.
What would you say to an artist? You need to get a website?
As an artist, I think it's so important to have a website, website that
For
is
your business, right?
for your business, a website that can tell people where to go, how to find you, how to create business with you, how to engage with you, and where these videos are, where your music is. Everything that is consolidated in one space is extremely beneficial for the sales pitch of an artist.
I think that for me, when I look at the website of an artist or the website of a business, right? It's the place that, as a business person, it's the first place I look at, because it's been set up by that business and telling me what they do, and a lot of thought goes into it. So I think the first piece of advice to every artist is your page, your social media engagements. They're all important, but when you want a business relationship, other businesses are going to look first at will often look first at your website, and because that's where you have the chance to express yourself as a business. I think maybe a lot of artists don't think that, right?
I think that artists are a little lost in finding help for their business because they're so worried about creating content and that takes a big chunk of time. And so therefore, one of the things that Indigo Collective is working on is helping these artists find the ability to sell themselves in an easier, more convenient, less time constraining space. And so, a business is grown in a very step-by-step matter, and it takes a much more pragmatic and more logical, more maybe left brain. And I want to say that artists use more of their right brain because we are in that space, in that hemisphere of wanting to improvise, wanting to create things in the moment. You're more in that right creative side. So to tap into that left side, you want to build that professional look, maybe with help from other professionals, or by you taking step by step in now the tools that are so much easier to take advantage of, as this day and age has created such an advantage for artists to really take a hold of your art, to be the owner of your art
And to be the owner of your business facing.
and the owner of your business.
Right,
Yes,
that's
correct.
right. Yeah, because I would say, you as a social media influencer, right? You've got really a tremendous amount of tens of millions, I think, of streams, and you kind of go from that world, and that's complementary to your website. I mean, I think this is the first lesson, right? You need a website, but how does that work? You've got this huge social media presence, all these streams, but that's not where businesses look to see who you are, is it?
It helps with the numbers, but there's no base of how to tell people that you have that in the professional world if you don't have a website.
And I know it
So,
seems basic, but
mhm.
when you look at artists, do they normally put a lot of effort into their website? Is that something?
Oh yeah.
They,
That is the difference between a professional musician who is actually making the money and actually generating their value and a business from it,
right.
versus the musician who is starting, or that has, or maybe even I know musicians that have 20, 24, 30 years in the business and have never had a website
Never had a
done for them.
website.
And the reason is
How does
because
anyone know who they are? Like, from my
the
perspective as a
reason
business
is,
guy, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm
right?
not going to look at your Instagram or Facebook
Hmm.
or TikTok to really. It doesn't. As a business
Yeah.
person, my first advice to any artist would be get yourself a website, sort out your email, get LinkedIn, right? Because these are tools that businesses rely on. And as a
Yes.
business person, I'm forming a business relationship with an artist. I need to know,
Yes.
are they reliable? Are they organized?
Mhm.
Are they going to actually turn up on the day? And when I see the work that's gone into the business face, not just the promotions, but
Mhm.
organizing the way you do business, that gives me a lot of
Yes.
confidence in a business relationship.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. There is a balance, and the help that you have when you are an artist beforehand, right, was with a large record company and record
Right? They
deal.
used to do
And
that
so,
for you. Right.
and they used to do everything for you, which was a way of controlling your art.
And I think you
So
even personally did some of those, right?
I was in a girl group. I was signed when I was 15 and 16. I had record deals. I did telenovelas. I worked for
Wow.
Televisa, which is the largest corporation, and I loved it. And yeah, it was wonderful.
But they owned you, is
My
that right?
But they owned me, and they owned everything I created. So at the end of the day, now that we're seeing a
And this
breakthrough
is what
of,
AI has done, maybe. AI is kind of opening
mhm,
that up, right? Because now the tools are there
yes,
where you can do this yourself, or you can
yes.
really tackle your own business, right?
The empowerment is there for each artist, and that's why social media was such a wave of empowerment for artists, because it created this way of engagement, this powerful tool for artists in their living room to find their niche, to find their audience without having to sign. Now, is signing still happening? Yes. And is it still helping artists? Yes. But is there a way for artists to move into their power and move into their
To own themselves
maybe
as
more
well, right? Yeah.
having more authority over their value, over their worth, over what they do and their creation, by establishing these foundations of business. Yes. And that's where artists need the most amount of help. It's taking them into that knowledge and taking them into that awareness that by creating your business in the right way, you will then provide a whole nother world of value and influx for your talent.
Wow. Yeah, so it really is the business of fun, right? It really is.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's starting with finding what gives you fun, and artists find that really easy again because that's the right brain.
Yeah,
And we're
but
moving in that.
yeah, but they've got to
We're
also
moving
do the
in that
business of it,
space
right?
of play. But we want to be in business. Otherwise, these artists are going to be now with what we're saying with these tools. There's now millions of people wanting to be an artist, wanting to express themselves, which is wonderful. And there's enough light for everyone.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about. Oh my God. So what's happening now? I guess like you used to have a studio and all this production, all of that stuff now. Wow, AI is really changing talent, right? Like how,
Yes.
yeah, it's changing
How
the
we
ability
see
to be
talent,
creators, right? Now it's open, like now on your computer, all these tools are just phenomenal to be able to do an incredible level of creativity.
You can produce an album in your kitchen, in your living room. You can write music in a way that is much more conventional for time.
Right.
You don't have to spend. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for live music and that's why we do these events, right? To keep the integrity of art and musician. And there's nothing like grooving in for example, Thriller with the same bass for 5 minutes. And the musician that was part of the song, he said, I can only get into it 5 minutes into repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. And that's something that, AI can't do. Finding the groove, finding the soul of music, finding the soul and the purpose of art.
And it's also people, it's the human element, right? So as humans, we love to engage with something that's relatable, and it's really, it's hard to relate to a performance that's not another human. I think a story, like we know, like animations or CGI movies and that have been able to tell stories, but you put that aside and say, in the world of performance art, like creator art, we want to relate to the artist as well, right? It's both.
Oh, yeah. We're so engaged with their story. And that's why when these events happen, I'm all about sharing their story and their bio and who they are. Getting to know the human is so much more relatable and so much more enticing to the viewer.
It creates a memorable moment, right? Right.
And you create connection and more layers of depth, and it pulls you back to this artist. It pulls you back to hearing this artist again, to hearing their music, to vouching for them, to being a fan. And that's what you need as an artist now, is the designated group of people that would not just go hear your music once. You need a group of people that will be listening to your music nonstop, that want to hear more about your story, that want to see what you do in the future, that support you in all the different things that you have to do as an artist, because now you're selling things, now you're social media engagement, now you're doing events, now you're doing podcasts, now you're doing
you've got to have so many skills.
So you have to have so many skills, and therefore these people that connect with you have to connect in all these different layers that you offer, and that's so interesting, because then people become more of your friends. People actually, even though there's this barrier of not having a full relationship, you create connection, and this connection is as meaningful as a friendship.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, and it's really interesting when you think about how businesses can create an experience that engages with people, and the people engage with the musicians, and through the musicians they engage with all of their fans, and it creates a very human kind of engagement in this world that is flooded with AI.
Hmm?
it seems that the creators of interesting things, the creators of experiences, are a gateway that's very human.
Yes. And you can only play when you have that energy, that allowance of being seen by people that give you permission to be yourself. So that's why an artist is so important, because an artist is a window into someone else's inner child, constantly reminding them that you have permission to be who you are. And so when
So
you come
through
in,
this engagement,
mhm,
the attendees, if you like, are actually drawn out themselves, right? They can be themselves. So
yeah,
they become part of the experience.
they're allowed to
Instead of
play. They're
watching,
allowed
like
to
instead
play.
of watching something, they can actually be in it.
Yeah, they're allowed to play. We're our last big event, the Legacy Celebration. I had this understanding that people that are 3 years old to 80 years old all have one thing in common, and it's that they all want to
And that's
be
not excluding
pirates.
people either older or younger than that, right?
No, no, no. This is like the range of people from three, when you have conscious, like when
Yeah.
you can talk and when you understand concepts, like 3 to 100. All these groups of people that I've worked with, and I hear their dreams, because that's what I constantly do. I'm listening to different groups of people, learning about their dreams, learning about their wants and their desires. And so what I've engaged with all these demographics is that they all want to be in a fantasy world. They all love the idea of becoming pirates, of being mermaids, of doing something that is out of the ordinary, to step out of reality. And so when I was thinking about legacy and I put
This is
this
the event at
together,
the Indigo
this is
Collective.
the event at the Maritime Museum with 5 ships that we
Wow.
used: the Star of India, the Berklee, the San Salvador, and we had 76 artists creating and
76
performing.
artists.
76 artists that we had on
That's a
board
lot,
these
right?
five
Is that a
ships.
lot?
It was to an extent of the highest production that we could achieve worldwide. This is next level event planning that took place in a surreal setting. I mean, you have these memorable spaces that are historic. You can just smell, touch, feel when you're there. You don't have to pretend. You're literally a pirate. You're literally a mermaid when you're in these spaces. You go back to maybe the 1900s Titanic with the Berkeley. You go back to the 1800s and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Um, with little to no imagination, you can already play with us. So that's where the power of these events is held, is that you achieve it by the setting, by the people, by bringing real life
And
energy
removing
into this.
barriers to participate. So I know
Yes.
there was a tea ceremony there, right? Like people could
Hmm.
go and just sit down and drink tea.
Yeah. Well, it's part of the exchange. The exchange is not just two-dimensional. It's all encompassing. It's all the senses are activated. You are smelling, you're drinking tea with someone, you are sharing your thoughts with a tea in like you said, a tea ceremony. But you can go off into more of a, I want to listen to this music and be in the Celtic band. I want to be in the K-pop group. I want to be observing more of
You did all
the
of this, all seven. This was all.
I did all of this. I had something for the extroverts. I had something for the introverts. I had something for the vegans. I had something for the meat eaters. I had something for everyone, because at the end of the day, the scope of people that come to your event have so many layers. They have a story. They are attracted to different things. And that's where the collective shines the most. The collective shines
The
the
Indigo
most.
Collective, right?
The Indigo Collective is shining the most when we can amplify all these eclectic group
So
of
imagine the
individuals.
social media reach from
Hmm.
76 artists all talking
Yes.
about this event that was like the event. I mean, would you say the event of a lifetime or something? I mean, what?
Yeah, this was the event that bridged all these demographics together. I mean, you have the healers that tune into the festival people, the Burning Man people. You have the musicians that are active in the live music world, in the Berklee College of Music, in the Grammy world, the influencer world. We have all these people that are tapped into the DJs and the costuming, the aesthetic of it. You have these podcasters that are here because they are speaking upon the importance of human connection, of
So
where we
let's
can
translate this. You've got this incredible engagement, right?
yes.
And think about your customers and the business. So this is offering businesses the opportunity to really engage and create moments, memories that are just about impossible to forget. Shit, there.
Yes. Yes, these are once in a lifetime moments that will never be repeated. These are unique moments in time that we can put in our pictures and our videos forever. But
Right.
being there and sharing your feelings about being in that space, that is the ticket seller. That is the sales. And that is why all these steps of creating the business for the business of fun are important, and integrating the foundations of a successful business, because we have every element that is needed in order to create the quintessential experience for other businesses and for other companies
Wow.
that we work with.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, Tamara, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for being such an incredible human, an incredible creator in the world, and in this crazy world of AI and everything else, really focusing on bringing in creators and in a way that businesses can also engage with it, and looking at it through the lens of making it more fun. It's incredible, really.
The business of fun, and Indigo Collective is the agency of only fun people. So thank you for supporting the arts and being such a patron of the arts. And I feel like G2E is going to be the most memorable party
G2E
yet.
is a big event that's coming up. I know you're planning something
And
outrageous for
that's
G2E.
something,
Maybe
yes.
we can do another talk on what you're thinking about for
Yes.
G2E.
We can keep them in the loop of that in the future. But I appreciate you having me in your podcast, and I know that we are always connected in many special ways. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me as a friend.
Okay,
I
thank you,
appreciate you.
Tamara. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.